I just got on a piece, and I don't know, too many bands to talk about, but you're listening to Maximum Threshold.
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
What we've got here is
maximum voltage, maximum power, maximum carnage. This is Maximum Threshold. Call the show at
440-709-4977.
Maximum Threshold. And here's your hosts, Dom.
He's unstable, but possibly worse.
He's actually quite smart. He just makes errors of judgment along the way.
Testing one.
Go, man. What a way to start the show off with some Junkyard with Hollywood, going back a long way. And tonight, man, we're going to have an interview with David Roach. Michael caught up with him last night, and we got an interview here for you. David Roach, of course, the front man for the band Junkyard. And, you know, Michael said this is a pretty long interview, so it's got to be good. You know, hey, obviously they hit some topics that mean something to somebody. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I haven't heard it yet. I just got it just a little while ago. So I'll hear this, and I'll sit here and listen to it right along with all of y'all. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, especially all of our new listeners as well. To episode 534 of the Maximum Threshold Radio Show, MTRS. I got a lot going on, man. A whole lot. Got some new releases. I got some new music here. I don't know if I'm going to be playing the new stuff, because we got all these interviews and it's going to take up a lot of time. But I have the interview I've been talking up for like the last week or two, the convalescence. Got that lined up. We have the interview with the band Twisted. George caught up with them over at Warped Tour a few weeks ago. And if we have some more time, I have Chelsea's Grin lined up too. So I don't know if we're going to get to all four of them. Probably not. Probably 2 to 3 at the most. But I got some stuff I'm going to be playing for you throughout the night. I got a lot more requests for that pigweed that we played last week. They want to hear it again. So we're probably going to be throwing some more pigweed at you and some more Beer Wolf. Those two were they took over last week. I was pretty excited. I like it when we get requests. You can send an email at the show at mtrshow@gmail.com, whatever you want to hear. And I'll try most definitely 99%, 98% of the time, I'll get it on there for you. If you're not listening, if you're not tuning in, but you just email, it's about 50-50 then. But if you're there, if you're sending me messages throughout the show and tell me you're listening and I can see that you're listening to it, I'll play it. I don't care. I'll bump something. I'll get you on in because you take priority if you're listening to us live because you're taking time out of your life. Thanks, Jeff. He said I sound better. Yeah, I guess my volumes were up a little too high, and I don't want to be blowing everybody's ears out and making We're not going to do that tonight. Oh, man. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, tonight, interview with David Roach. Junkyard caught last night. Michael is currently at some festival somewhere in BFE in Pennsylvania somewhere. Who the hell knows? Seeing Vixen and Faster Pussycat and some other bands. Him and Shando, they're out there causing havoc. Hopefully they're getting some free food. Well, I know Michael is. Michael has a way with the bands. He knows the goal. The goal, number one goal is to get in. 2, if you score food. 3, if you get drinks. He doesn't drink, but if you got Shannon with him, if you can score him a drink, that's a grand slam, right? That's not a home run or a triple. That's a grand slam. Let's see. So let's get into this, man. I want to tell you this, man. Since I've had this new Ghost prequel, man, it's really growing on me. And I've listened to it 20-something times. It's got to be more than that. Because when the song's, I sort of know the words of the song. I even start talking with that fucking accent, too. Like I'm from Sweden and shit. I can't roll my R's, man. So I can't do the rats. I have to say mice. But the record is really cool. There's some good stuff on there. I mean, there's maybe a couple little clunkers on there, but other than that, man, that record it's damn good. I mean, even the clunkers are good quality songs, but they're not the kinds that they got too much piano and shit in there, and fuck, you lose me there for a little bit, But other than that, man, the new Ghost prequel, to me personally, right now, I think it's their best. It's not their heaviest, but it sounds really good. I like there's some really good riffs in there that they did. And I like the singer, man. The singer is right on it. And it fits in perfect with this mix, and it sounds good. And I like the direction they're going. I think this record are really gonna blow up. I mean, not saying like last year they weren't doing good in the year before, but I think this is the catapult year for this band. I'm hearing them on our local radio stations, which is really cool. And you get really excited when you hear that. Because when you start hearing some of your cool music that you like listening to on mainstream radio, man, it kind of makes you get a little excited because you don't hear that shit. You hear the stupid stuff all the time. But, yep, there you go. So I've been talking for a good 7 minutes. I'm about to shut my head up, and we're going to roll into this. I want to say this. 2 weeks, man, I'm going to go check out the Dead Daisies at the Cleveland Agora. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't play that show. I really wanted to. I wanted to share the stage with my buddies. Got Doug Aldrich, Dean Castronova. We go back a long way with these guys. And, of course, John Karabi. I would love to share the stage with them. I know Michael wanted to, too, but the other guys couldn't pull it out. It's a Wednesday. Yeah, you know, shit happens and all, but you know, maybe down the road we're gonna get fire the band. We got the new name of the band. We're not giving it out yet. It's coming up soon. I guess we'll announce it on the next show that we do, because I think we're moving away from the Morning Wagon name and going to the new one. We've been giving hints out and stuff for a while, but we haven't yet to say anything. So, yeah. Well, let me bust out a couple of these little quick commercials. We'll come back and we'll get in the interview with David Roach, and then we're gonna roll right into it. I got the new Junkyard as well. I got Faded going to play afterwards, after the interview with David. We'll come back, give away some shit. I give away the new Junkyard CD. I'll give away some other shit I got. Like new Judas Priest. If you don't got it, I'll hook you up with it. Let's see. I don't know. I got a bunch of stuff. You know what? I'll even make it a package deal in this next contest I do. We'll give you out the digital release of the new Junkyard. I got the new Pigweed and Beer Wolf. And I might even be able to squeeze out the new Orange Goblin. Now that one's really damn good. So, okay. I'll be back after this, man. Stay tuned. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And Jeff, you rock, motherfucker.
Call into the show. West Coast callers call 213-973-7237. Once again, 213-973-7237. East Coast callers 440-709-4977. Once again, 440-709-4977.
Missed the live show? Go to StitcherRadio.com and search Maximum Threshold and listen in today. That's Maximum Threshold and Stitcher Radio, a match made in heaven.
You want to listen to Maximum Threshold Radio on your phone? You can do so. The app is out there, baby. Tune in Radio. Go to your little market there and download TuneIn Radio. Just type that in the search, TuneIn Radio. Once you download that app, click it, activate it, blah, 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 search Maximum Threshold. Once again, that's TuneIn Radio. You can also catch the podcast on there also. It's real nice. Check it out. TuneIn Radio for Maximum Threshold Radio live.
Hey everybody, this is David Ellison, and we are thrashing it up here on MaximumThreshold.net.
Trailers rocking, probably with her sister. I mean, we're listening to Maximum Threshold right here. Maximum Threshold radio show. Hey, these guys over here at Maximum Threshold, man, they're so metal. Their taint is rusty.
Maximum Threshold is the only place where you can download free midget porn and listen to Slayer at the same time.
You can't spell the words complete idiot without the letters D-O-M. You're listening to Dom.
Yeah, like I said, I got this interview here with David Roach of Junkyard right now. So stick around, man. Listen to it. It's going to be good. I think it's like 19 minutes long. So if you're just sitting there listening on your Mac or something, or wherever you're listening to us on your phone, driving around town, driving through the meatpacking district in New York City, listen to this, man. It's going to be fun. I can guarantee you, anything that Michael does, it's great. Especially when I see it's something long like this. It's nice because I know he's covering a lot of shit, and I'm looking forward to it. So here you go, man. This is David Roach, the band Junkyard. You heard them. We opened the show with Junkyard, and this is it. David Roach, exclusively on Maximum Threshold Radio.
No. Hey, everybody, I'm here with David Roach. Do you prefer Dave or David, first of all?
You gotta call me David. Mom told me.
Okay.
Not that one.
Yeah,
my real mother.
So, David from Junkyard. Once again, old friend of the show. And as you guys all know, I'm a big fan of Junkyard. So what's new and exciting in the life of Junkyard since we saw you 363 days ago?
Almost a year ago today. Not as much as I'd hoped. I thought 2017 would be a lot busier than it has been. It's about to get busy, which I'm grateful for. But, we had one reason or another, a few things dropped out, and that's fine. We're ready to, get going.
But you're still out there. I mean, after all these years of...
It's a freaking miracle.
Of hit and miss, like spotty activity. Look at you guys on the road again.
Yeah.
Much to the delight of...
And look at all those kooks over there with Junkyard colors.
Oh, I know, right?
Beautiful.
Isn't it? It's great. I mean, see, like last year, it was pretty packed. This year, it's like out the door packed. So...
It's a good sign. You want it...
How's everybody been receiving the new music now that it's the High Water's about a year and a half old now? How's everybody reacting to it in the crowds?
They like it. It's not like a situation where we're a band that puts out an album every year or two and tries to experiment with their concept. We're Junkyard. We play 3-chord rock and roll, and that's the way that it always was, and that's the way it always will be.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got the sweet spot where you draw the crowds from like the punk rock crowd till you get some of the rockabilly crowd, even because of when Hollywood and Simple Man and your first couple albums came out, was towards the end of the hair metal. So you guys got you got crowd from that. That's how I got turned on to you guys originally.
And that is our bass crowd too.
Yeah, my girlfriend, her family was rich, and you remember new records used to be released on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
She would go and buy every new release, and like
across the board.
Yeah, everything. And if it was no good, she'd throw it away. I was like poor, so I would have to pick one album every paycheck that I could get into. So she's like, check this out. And I was like, oh, I remember, like, you guys had one song on a sampler. So she turned me on to that, and it was like, we were, like, into the hair metal, but I also liked, like, metal. And even, like, the Black Crowes, like, all my friends are like, oh, that's bullshit country. So you like a little bit of everything, but you guys have enough diversity. You said it's just 3-chord rock. You guys got that sweet spot where it's like, what are those 4 states out west that there's like the 4 corners, you can touch all 4 of them. You guys are like right in the middle of 4 corners right there.
Well, I hope I didn't say the same thing last time you interviewed me, but our music is a reflection of what we grew up on and what we loved, and it is all those things. I mean, I listened to Hank Williams with the same love that I listened to Judas Priest when I was a kid. It is what it is. Music to me, it shouldn't be categorized or anything. I think it's personal, and what you like is what you like. What appeals to you, what is like. I like country, I like punk, I like rock and roll. My band is a rock and roll band, but the stuff that I like seeps into it, And so, and on that last record, I've seen reviews where they said it was pop country, and it sucked, and then I've had like harder, interviews where they say it's punk, it's not rock, and so everybody's got a different opinion and everybody's got a different viewpoint. But to me, it's just rock and roll. It's my Junkyard's version or rock and roll.
Exactly. There's
no reason to complicate it.
Yeah, and that's the sweet spot, right in the middle of everything. And the other thing is, and I probably said this, like you said, you hope you didn't say this in last interviews. I probably touched on these in different words, but you guys. You touch on honesty. You're singing about your life, and you can feel like the ups and downs in your life, and that's what you want in music. You want to feel like, there's like fun, frivolous songs that don't mean much you hear and you like songs, but like songs that stick with you are like songs that touch you and you feel like when you sang Simple Man, you know, I'm just a simple man. Give me what you can and set me free. I might have got the lyrics wrong. I'm really tired. But you feel that. Everybody, and like, you can feel like in your music, even like the new album, you can feel spots where you were down and out, and then there's other spots where you're up, and that's life is a roller coaster. It's not always up, it's not always down, and it's like it's a journey, and you feel it, and it's like, you know, as a musician, you want to touch people, you know, and you of course you want people to like your stuff, because then you can keep making it and have a living doing this stuff and not have to bust your hump. Because then when the times get lean and you have to bust your hump, you're not exactly as creative as like when you guys started and you were hungry and this was all you did. You know, you were living it, and you could feel it. It like seeps out of those songs. Even the new stuff, it does, of course.
Well, that's because I'm still living it, and I'm still, you know, living hand to mouth, check to check. And, yeah, I mean, and as far as songwriting, you know, I write the songs I write because I can only write what I know about. Yeah. And I think people can relate to, that's the songs I relate to, is when I hear something that sounds like, man, you know, that hits the nail on the head about situations in my life.
Yeah.
And there's different kinds of, you know, there's rock bands that sing about fantasy, science fiction, fantasy, whatever shit, but the only thing I know is what I know, and that's life is fucking beautiful and life is fucking hard.
Yeah, it is a motherfucker, but at the same time it's the most beautiful thing. Like, do you have any kids? I don't want to get like...
Yeah, I have a kid, and I was just telling him the same thing. I said, he's like, is life always this hard? I mean, why, you know, because he gets suppressed sometimes, and I said that, well, I do too, and I said, but you have to go through the hard shit to appreciate the beauty in life.
Yeah, because a lot of kids these days are handed everything.
Yeah,
and they don't understand what it's like to work for anything.
Yeah.
Does your kid like? Does he look and he's like, that's my dad, that's really cool?
Couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, like like that, like that you guys were on top of the world at one point. You know, I mean, like, I knew so many people. I know it didn't translate nowadays. I mean, but you guys are still out doing it. But you guys were like at the top. Like, not, you guys may not have been selling out arenas, but how many bands couldn't even like make it to open for you guys?
I'm incredibly grateful for what we've accomplished, but we were never an arena band. The only time I got close to arena was opening for Leonard Skinner, and it was awesome. But we usually play mid-sized venues.
But didn't you guys do like the Operation Rock and Roll tour? Some of those dates. Didn't you guys do that Judas Priest thing?
No.
I must have seen you the same week then, because in my foggy memory, you guys were on that. But you guys must have been here the same week. But like there's a lot of I guess you would say compatriots, or however you say the word, the guys that you came up with, that you guys have played with,
colleagues,
comrades, that's the word.
Yeah.
But like, how many of those guys have given up? You know, and you guys are still out there doing it. It's a testament to your will and your desire and to your art.
Well, I mean, there was several years in between, you know, back then and now that I wasn't doing anything. We weren't doing anything. Yeah. And, you know, luckily there's a handful, you know, enough people that are still interested in us to give us the availability to do things like this.
Yeah.
You know, fly out on the weekend, play Detroit, play Cleveland, and, you know, have some fun, and you know, a lot of longtime fans get what they want, we get what we want, you know, and it's great. But yeah,
it's got to be better to like to play like more intimate shows like this with your fans than to go out with another band from that era and play like 30 minutes. And you're playing for their crowd, and you might have the same fans, but it's like, okay, you guys get 30 minutes, we're playing an hour and a half. It's like,
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking forward to it. We're playing with LA Guns for a few shows. There are probably a handful, a dozen shows towards the end of the year.
Oh, yeah?
And it'll be their crowd. We'll probably pull 100, 150 people that want to see us. And but, you know, it is what it is, you know.
But you guys will get to play. I think that's a similar crowd, because they were...
There's definitely a you know,
they were
it will overlap.
Video,
there's LA Gun Junkyard fans that'll be there too, and there's LA fans.
Is that going to be like a full tour, or just you said just a couple of dates?
They wanted us to do a full tour with them, and I wanted to too. But the truth of the matter is, most of our guys have real jobs.
Yeah,
I've been holding out on getting a real job. I've had one most of my life, and if I'm going to go out,
go out swinging.
Yeah, and so I just, you know, I don't care if I'm starving. I want to do this, and only this, while I can still do it. I don't kid myself. I'm 52, and I like to bring it on stage. I like to have a lot of energy, and I want to fuck shit up on stage. Now, when a few more years I slow down and I can't bring it like I want to, then I don't. You know, then it's time to. You know.
Well, you've kept the same unit. Junkyard is the same guys for the last couple since High Water. Like, I mean, this will be.
Well, we've had it. Yeah.
This will be my third or fourth time getting to see you guys since the album, and it's all the same guys in the band. A lot of bands that are doing what you guys are doing, where you're just doing weekend shows. Like, it'll be like maybe the singer, maybe the guitar player, and they'll always change the other members.
Well, I don't ever want to be David Roach's Junkyard.
Yeah.
You know, I need those guys. I want those guys, and if I can't have them, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to get a bunch of hired guns to play in a Junkyard cover band. Yeah. And me being the front guy. Jimmy's been with us 2 years now. He's in the band. Everybody else, you know, they say a bunch of new players, but really, you know, it's been me and Pat since the beginning. Todd's been with us since 91. Tim has been riding with us and hanging with us since 90 or 91. I mean, we've known him since 86.
Yeah.
He's always been a part of the band in my mind. Well, towards the end especially. He was contributing to songwriting even before he was playing guitar for us. Yeah. So it's family. We don't audition people. Yeah. And if I can't tour because Todd's got to work or Pat's got to work or something, then we're not touring.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out with some hired guns and try to, you know, and just, you know, there has to be some integrity.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if there's like some amazing opportunity and one guy can't do it, and he's like, hey,
and that's happened too.
Get a guy for that show.
No, and that's happened too, and we do. We have a replacement for Todd, a guy named Gaz. He plays for sorry, Gaz. London Choir Boys and some of the bands, but we've known him for years. He played in Tim and Pat's old band Sucker Punch, so he's family again. You know, we know each other. Yeah. We're not auditioning strangers. We need somebody, we go to the family. We go to our little circle and find somebody that we know, and we know we get on the road and he's not going to be some
dickhead
trying to burn sage or in the band.
Some sacrificing chickens before the show.
Well, that's not a bad idea, but you get me.
And you guys are a really tight unit, and like you said, you're like family. And so you can't just replace these guys. I mean, we were talking about the feeling and the emotion in these songs. You need someone that feels them too, not just someone who's looking for a quick paycheck.
No, you can't work that way. Yeah. For me, you know, everybody's got their lead singers. Fill in the name of whatever band that he can't get the whole members of. You know, whatever.
Yeah, like I have some friends in some bands that tour, and like some of them they have one original member. I mean, like my one friend's in the band. The singer's the only original guy, and the rest of the guys have been in the band longer than the originals. You know, they've been they're talking like 17, 18 years.
Well, that's our case too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like some people complain about, and then some promoters try to be shady and they put up an old picture. And it's like, just be honest. The fans know.
Well, that's part of the reason we got Jimmy is because, you know, Baker just quit, you know, shortly before the album was released. And it was because he knew he was too busy with Bad Religion, and he wanted what we wanted. I want somebody who's there. And I don't want them to think, oh, is Brian? Why isn't Brian Baker playing? I thought he was in the band. You know, he just didn't have time. He knew it. We knew it. So we want somebody. So there's no, you know, we're not trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes.
You don't want to. It's one thing to schedule your tours around everybody's life and job. It's another thing when it's because they're doing another band, which is fine to have other creative outlets, but like you said, you're living it, breathing it. This has got to be your number one creative thing.
Yeah, you know, I don't have, you know, being realistic, I don't have that many years left of doing this, you know, and this nostalgic 80s thing. It won't last forever, and you know, and Bad Religion's Brian Baker's money, and it's his bread and butter, and, you know. It's, so we do what we do, and we try to keep the integrity of the band as close as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
If find me any band, Stones or anybody who's had the same lineup for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years.
Exactly. I mean,
you know,
when
people die, people move on, people, you know,
people complain. Original members. Sometimes the original members had to be replaced.
Yeah.
And and you guys tear the stage up. I mean, you guys, like I said, you guys are a tight unit. You could tell you enjoy playing together. The passion for the music, and that's more important than having some guy like in the band that's just like, you know, not into it. You know?
Well, that's why Chris isn't in the band anymore. I mean, me and Chris started the band. It was Chris's concept, the whole fucking Spade thing. It was his idea, and I give him full credit for it. But I couldn't have done it without him. He couldn't have done it without me. And this is where we are now. And but you know, the last few times we went on tour with Chris, he didn't enjoy it anymore, and his not enjoying it brought everybody else down.
Yeah.
So he left, and you know, we carry on. But you know, I like to think we're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not making a mint, man. Believe me.
Yeah. And going back to the Spade, the idea for the Spade, that's like, like Black Label Society. They kind of, I don't want to say they stole that idea, but they kind of co-opted the idea of a brand and a lifestyle.
Like, the Jack Daniels logo? Or
like
what?
No, like they took the Spade, but they made their own BLS logo, and it's like almost like a whole bike gang and a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, well, that's what Chris's concept was. I want something, because we were, you know, it was 1986, 87 L.A. where glam was king and and we were not glam. We were fat and ugly and wore jeans and t-shirts. So that wasn't going to work. So we had to come up with something that made it cohesive. And his idea was, let's make it like a, you know, like a gang kind of thing, and have gang colors and shit. And we were like, cool, you know. And you want to know where the Spade came from? I went to Motorhead at Santa Monica Civic with Cro-Mags opening, and we picked up a flyer, and there was a Spade with this ring of roses around it, and we were like, that'd be cool. Let's just rip off Motorhead. And if you're going to rip off somebody, that's pretty good. This is going to work.
That's a perfect example of, like, when I said you guys touch on all bases. Like, I could totally imagine you guys sharing a bill with Motorhead, because Motorhead has moments of metal, but they're really just a hard rock band. You guys are just like, you guys are that gritty rock and roll. You get a little hard on spots, you get a little softer on spots, but by no means is it like a glammy ballad. I'm sure back in the day Geffen wanted you guys to release the ballad.
Oh, didn't you know every band was required to do a ballad?
And it was always the third song.
Second song, either that or second song, second side.
Yeah,
there's formula.
And the
whole goddamn thing's a formula. But our ballad, hands off, it wasn't that pretty. Yeah. It was more like the ugly side of love.
It was like depressing.
So
it was real. It was real. Like, and like, you know, like I said, Simple Man. That touches more honesty with than like some of the ballads. Oh baby, I need you. Oh, I love you. Yeah. You're just like, you know what?
And that's what Britney Spears says too, and Taylor Swift and shit. So you know, whatever.
How old's your kid?
15.
15. So what's he into? Like video games?
No. I got him into what he. I push some idea. I make the people that like my fans who are rockers aren't going to dig this, but I grew up with like, besides Motorhead, AC/DC, Judas Priest. I was into punk and stuff, and also shit like Echo and the Bunnymen and The Cure and stuff like that.
Love The
and
Cure.
Those guys would hate it for me if I said, but. And, I give my kid what my mom gave me, a whole spectrum of music, from Hank Williams to Led Zeppelin and everything in between, and basically the message was there's all kinds of music. Listen to it and get what you like, You might like one kind of music, one song by one kind or something. To me, it's more about the song than the genre. Or the genre, or the whatever. A lot of these rockabilly guys, hair metal guys, that's their world. That's all they'll listen to. But you're cutting yourself short if you only listen to one kind of music. I mean, there's too much good shit out there.
And then also there's like, I don't understand these kind of people that just listen to whatever's on the radio. They don't change the station. They don't care. It's like they don't have passion for any.
Well, they're
music.
probably not that interested in music.
Yeah, they just listen to whatever is on, and it's like, is there something you love? Like, my son's 23. When he was little, of course, he liked whatever I did. So he loved Van Halen, he loved Rob Zombie and White Zombie because it was getting into that. It was he liked some of the he liked Motley Crue, he liked Poison. He would have probably back then he would have loved you guys if you were still touring. I mean, I took him to see Poison, Motley Crue. Took him to see David Lee Roth stuff, and he loved it. Now he listens to this fucking rap music. And now I will say this: I liked back then, like when you guys were at your height of popularity. I liked that, like the old school rap, like Run DMC, Public Enemy, like KRS-One, and
yeah. I mean,
and not this.
It's like everything else. I mean, those guys. There was, like any other kind of music, when something gets popular, there's 500 other band or rappers, whatever they're called, trying to imitate or be, so there's, and it happened with Guns N' Roses, all of a sudden there's 200 bands trying to be Guns N' Roses. That's how we got signed.
Yeah.
And Pearl Jam, and I know it, Nirvana happens, and there's 200 bands trying to sound like Nirvana. Yeah. Out of all those bands, maybe 5 or 6 of them are worth the shit.
And
like
it's
when Guns N' Roses got signed, maybe 5 or 6 bands that got signed afterwards were worth the shit. When rap hit big, Run DMC and those bands you mentioned hit big, then everybody, and there was a few bands that were, or a few rappers that were worth their fucking weight, and it's a fucking business, and the businessmen are, they see something that hits, is successful, they're trying to find the next one so they can,
so they can make their money off it. And that's the thing too. Like people say, grunge, Nirvana and grunge killed the hair metal. No, they didn't.
No.
What it was
hair metal killed hair metal.
It was when you get to the third, fourth, fifth tier of the bands, and it's like all these shitty bands get signed, and you have to dig through them to find that one. Like you said, out of all those bands after the initial ones, what was good, and it was like, and it needed to go away. So the good stuff still stayed around.
Could reinvent itself.
Like
it happens. It's like life, man. Something grows. It gets old and dies, and something new comes along.
Like, I don't want to be disrespectful when I say this, but
fuck you, man.
But imagine, you think a rapper that was at your level of success, wasn't super like arena, but wasn't like nobody. You think a rapper or a pop musician in the same level of success as you guys.
Right.
They're not around today. They're not touring because they didn't have good music. They didn't have good the hard work ethic, because it's not just writing good songs. It's hard work and dedication. And it's like people don't. That stuff was throwaway. You guys are at least like there's nobody like looking for like whatever rap band in '91 had one song in the top 20. But you guys had good songs and are great live. And the people still come from all those years ago because it was quality. It wasn't just put out bullshit from the record company. The record company may have pushed you guys to put the ballads there, put them out, but at least they were honest. They were ballads, Junkyard style. They weren't, hey, this, you like Cheap Trick, hey, you guys are gonna play this song The Flame, which turned out to be one of their biggest hits that they didn't write, they didn't even want to do. But you guys like, not to say not to say that's not a good song, but you guys never did it. You guys were always, your ballad was Junkyard. It wasn't.
Well, I think even more than that, it's just we didn't. I feel like in a lot of I don't want to say great bands because we are where we are. The bands that can survive all those years are bands that didn't pigeonhole themselves too much by. I mean, the songs we write are not timeless. Like, oh my God, it's so timeless, but they're relevant back then and right now because I'm talking about simple shit about real life, and that's always going to be relevant. Yeah, and it's not about hot pussy and hot cars and all that shit, and I can wear the same clothes I did when I was 21 because all I ever wore was t-shirt and jeans. Yeah. So I'm not, I wasn't wearing hair and makeup and all that stuff back then. So now that I'm older and I'm receding and all the shit that happens when you get older, I don't have to look or be like that shit I was 30 years ago.
Did you ever miss the long bleach blonde hair?
No.
But also not just, you say you're singing about simple stuff, but there's, your
real stuff.
Your real,
people can identify with. That's what makes the difference between.
It's honest.
Because it's also universal. The feelings that I write about are shit that happens to everybody in their lives, whether it was 2,000 years ago or 5 years ago or 5 years from now. Yeah, and fucked up relationships, dysfunction in your love life, in your work life, and everything.
And the music also, like you said about being pigeonholed, the music, you guys didn't cater to the time. You just did your own. Like I said, the record company may have pushed you to release like the singles as the ballads and stuff, but most people remember Junkyard as Hollywood and blues, they remember the rockers, but your music is just rock and roll. It's not pigeonholed, like you said, into any specific style, and I think that lends to the fact that you guys can still go out and, like you said, just like all those years ago, you wear the same thing. You don't change. You don't have to change.
Why can Aretha Franklin still sing Respect and people go, yeah, I want respect? Why can I can give you a million examples of people writing from the heart. Their shit will stand the test of time because you're talking about human issues, not what was happening in 1987 or 86 down on the strip.
Even though
talking about life,
and some stuff comes back, like the political bullshit from back then. Now we're in a different sort of political strife and division of the country and stuff. But like you said, not the strip and like that party lifestyle. That was fun. I mean.
Damn right it was. But
if you,
I didn't write about it. I was having fun doing it.
Yeah.
You don't write happy songs when you're having fun. Yeah. I write. I shouldn't say you. I mean people. Personally, I write fucked up songs about fucked up shit because I'm in a fucked up mood. I don't write a lot of positive stuff because I'm too busy having fun and enjoying life.
But you know what? That's another beauty of your songs. You said it's honest, but it's also, even like your slow songs, and they sound like sappy, but it's really like gritty, and it's not like, oh baby come back. It's more like, oh fuck you. And even the upbeat songs aren't about like, yeah, party. It's like some of it's about the grittier
side. Enjoy the party and
it's
hang on for the aftermath because it's coming, believe me.
It might not be about the party, it's more about the hangover the next day, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so
what goes up must come down.
That's right, and hopefully you can go right back up eventually, right? Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up because I know you probably got to warm up so you can tear the stage.
Yeah,
down.
I got to do my 30-minute yoga meditation and stretching before. No,
I thought you were more
joking.
of a Pilates guy myself. But so, real quick, one thing I didn't ask:
pepperoni and onion.
Pepperoni and onion.
Oh, I thought we were talking pizza. Pilates, no, I didn't do Pilates, no.
Well, okay. Speaking of pizza, what's your thoughts of pineapple on pizza?
That's funny. I was talking about that the other day. I don't like mixing my cuisines. I think the closest I get is Mexico and Italy, and that's Italian sausage and jalapenos. I personally, I've had pieces of pizza with pineapple on it, and it was fine. But if I had my druthers, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't.
I'm just usually
I like pepperoni.
I'm more of a pepperoni and maybe sausage, not the little rabbit shit looking.
No, real Italian sausage.
Yeah. So, and
Italian pizza.
I know I'm getting hungry and I just ate. If you could, which Golden Girl would you?
Betty White. I
Betty
guess.
White,
just because she's funny.
That would be the one that you.
Well, she's
would
the
give
funniest
the old
one. It wouldn't be Maude.
Maude looks like I'm not convinced Maude was a woman. I'm not.
Well, even the other two. I don't. Who else was on that show? I don't remember. There was a
really old one.
Yeah, right. And then there was a semi-hot one,
that
like
horny one that was
like Granny MILF, whatever.
She was always looking.
But Betty White was funny, and humor goes a long way.
I bet you could fucking suck a dick back in her day. What do you think?
I bet you could suck the chrome out of it.
How she's probably like 100 now, and she could probably still give the little. She might have like those old flappy arms, which she'll still give the old twisty action.
Now you're freaking me out, man. But I mean, sense of humor goes a long way. It's very attractive. I remember when I was a kid reading Playboy, all the girls. What do you like? What's a turn on and a turn off? They always say a guy with a sense of humor. What's a turn off? Dirty fingernails. So I try to keep my fingernails clean.
Dude, those are some clean fingernails.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, I work with my hands all the time and they get dirty. But if you're gonna, I wash them before I go on a date or something.
Yeah, you don't want to be finger blasting some girl with some dirty nails.
She don't want you to either.
Yeah,
and a sense of humor, man.
Yeah. I know that
you're right in there.
If you can't laugh them into submission, just hit them with the chloroform rag. That's what I say.
You're a sick individual.
I am a little bit, yeah. So before we wrap this up,
we're all God's children.
Tell everybody where they can find Junkyard music, tour info, buy some merch.
I don't know how this business works anymore. I'm 30 years removed. You go to our website and you can get T-shirts and hats and all kinds of.
What's the website? Junkyard Blues. Or is it just blues?
I should know this, shouldn't I? I believe if you search for Junkyard Blues, you'll get to our website.
Yeah.
Now, there's a fan site called Worldwide, Junkyard Fans Worldwide, and there's our Facebook page, Junkyard. I think is probably the way to get merchandise.
So you guys
and Pat, the drummer, is on top of that.
Yes, guys, they're very responsive to fans. So seriously, everybody. Go find the tour dates. Go see these guys on tour so we can keep them on the road just so I can see them more. Buy some merchandise.
And it's a good show. It's a good live show if you like rock and roll. Yeah. I mean, I don't even care if you like us or not or whatever. If you like rock and roll, you like, we're entertaining to watch, I think.
Yeah, they're very good.
People tell me.
Especially for saying how old you are, you still get after it, brother.
You can't fucking lie about it. I mean,
You know what? George Clinton said, if you fake the funk, your nose is going to grow.
True that.
So, but seriously, go check out Junkyard, buy the music, don't just steal it. Because I'll tell you what, High Water would fit in right with 6s, 7s, 9s, and the first Junkyard album, and everything. Like you said, you're not reinventing the wheel, you just want to write a new song.
No, and we're not trying to change, we're not trying to experiment.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
And now for new music sent in for you to check out.
Here's that new Junkyard with Faded. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, David. You guys rock.
Time we were young, we were the time. We were young, we were way out of line. Jacked up straight out of our minds. Dragons on a silver line. And a flashback back to the time. We were young, we were way out of line. Jacked up straight out of our minds. Faded, unfaded. Totally annihilated. Faded, faded, faded,
Hey guys, this is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News, and this is your Maximum Threshold Rock and Metal News Report. Dead Letter Circus released a new single called The Real You, which is on YouTube now. It's off their new self-titled album, which is out on September the 21st through Rise Records. And Whitesnake are set to release Unzipped 5-CD DVD set in October. Highlights are rare and unreleased acoustic performances recorded over the past 20 years and includes North American debut of concert video Starkers in Tokyo. Pre-orders are up, so you can check that out. And Rush frontman Geddy Lee will release his new book, Geddy Lee's Big Beautiful Book of Bass, on December the 4th through Harper Design. You can pre-order now, and this is written in Geddy's singular voice. This book reveals the stories, songs, and history behind the instruments of his collection, complete with an index and graphically designed timeline of the history of the bass, as well as an up-close look at Geddy's basses on Rush's final R40 tour, and much more. Continuing with your MaximumThreshold.net rock and metal news, Primal Fear are set to release their new album Apocalypse on August the 10th. A video for the track Ritual is now on YouTube. And pre-orders are up now as well. And Leonard Skinner, they've announced a new release titled Live in Atlantic City. Live in Atlantic City will be released as CD, Blu-ray, Digipack, and 2LP gatefold and a download as well. It's going to be out on September 21st through Ear Music. Some of the songs are Working for MCA, Gimme 3 Steps, Down South, Junkin', Kryptonite, Call Me the Breeze, Sweet Home Alabama, and Freebird, among many others. And finally, The White Swan, featuring Kitty drummer Mercedes Lander, have released a title track off their new EP. It's called Touch, Taste, Destroy. It's on YouTube now, and it's going to be out on September the 7th. This is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News with a Z, and this has been your Maximum Threshold Rock and Metal News Report. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for the Rock and Metal News. We won't have one next week. He's taking the week off next week. So it's going to be me, baby. I'm going to be pulling out the music news. It's not going to be as well structured as his. Because he does a damn good-ass job. Always has. Been doing this for years with us. And he's out of Vancouver. You got to check him out on YouTube. He's got his, just do a search for Rock and Metal News. And subscribe to their service on there on YouTube. And he covers a lot more stuff, more than that you hear over here on MTRS. Well, I want to thank Michael for that great interview that he did with David Roach of Junkyard. And in a second here, I'm going to be giving Rory Kelly a call. I just recently got turned on to his music, and man, I was like, I got to reach out to this guy, man, because the music was really cool. It had that real bluesy funk and smooth sound to it. And I was like, man, I got to turn other people onto it, because we're coming right out from the mood from Junkyard with their kind of sound. And I think that Rory's music here kind of like floats right into it. And I think this would be great. So we're going to give him a call. Then we got a couple of his songs here lined up. We'll probably knock one of them out afterwards. And yeah, then we're going to roll right in there. This just popped in. So if you noticed earlier in the show when I said what interviews I had lined up, this one wasn't part of it, but we're going to do it anyways. So hold on a second. Okay, so let's work on this. We're going to give Rory a call here right now. We'll get him on the show. And let me pull his number up. Okay, and Mary's still here, she says. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want you people to be calling this guy. Blah, blah. That's why I did that.
Enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while your party is
Hey, cool. Oh, yeah. I like that. Rory.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Not much. What's up? This is Dominic, right?
Yeah. I was just
Right on, man.
I was just enjoying your Verizon ringtone, the music I was waiting on hold. So what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I literally just walked out of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the process of doing like a little EP right now. We got our own, got our own studio out in the woods.
Yeah.
Kind of, our own thing to do. And I guess your cousin Mary, she texted me and mentioned about your radio show, and she kind of just gave me the lowdown, and all of a sudden, bam, we're talking, and I was like, yeah, what a cool, that's good, a good end, like an end of the day kind of thing. It's a pretty good little thing.
Nice. You guys got any Sasquatch sightings out there?
Man, but you know what? My old man, who is also my drummer, he's an avid fucking Bigfoot dude. I kind of, man, I get on the. I'm a conspiracy theorist myself. I get on a lot of these fucking YouTube channels, and I tell you what, there's some at least the people that are saying the story. There's some believable people.
Yeah.
I haven't never seen one myself, but there's some pretty interesting stories for sure.
Do you hear any of those sounds that they say that they make out there?
I have never heard one myself, but you know what? Not that I'm aware of. But now growing up. There's a very good chance I did and just didn't know what the hell it was. You know what I mean? I tell you what, when we travel, when we go north from here, though, one of the spots we have to hit, of course, is West Virginia.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a Sasquatch, a place for Bigfoot to reside, it would be there. There's some, oh man, I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of just, unexplored turf that we would have no idea if there was another civilization going on.
Oh, there is. It's called inbreeding.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
It isn't actually Bigfoot. It's just a big fucking inbred guy.
It is. It's what it has to be. It's got to be something like that. When you mix the mothers and brothers and sisters and the Amish in the mix, that's what you're going to get. You get some Sasquatch.
That's exactly what a Sasquatch is. Right on.
So where are you located at?
We say Asheville. We're 20 minutes east of Asheville, in a little town called Marion, North Carolina.
Yeah.
But we hail from Asheville. That's where we do all of our local shows and stuff. There's really not much going on in this little town.
You guys have a Waffle House down there?
Actually, we just had one put in about a year ago.
Oh man, there goes the digestive tract in your community.
Yeah, every time they build a restaurant, it's something like that. Fast food or some type of junk food. Yeah, if we're gonna go to, if my wife and I are gonna go to grab a real bite to eat that we want to, treat ourselves. It's a 40-minute drive. Within 40 minutes of our house, we can't find nothing but fucking McDonald's and Bojangles and stuff like that. That's all it is.
So how's the music scene down there?
Man, it's cool. And when I speak of that, I'm speaking from Asheville. The man, it's cool. It's very eclectic, man. There's in the last 7 years, I guess, the rock and rollers have kind of become, I hate to say the minority, but it's just there's so many different styles of music now. I went to a show the other night that my wife plays in another, I would call it like punk. It's I don't know, it's like Johnny Thunder style. It ain't quite punk. It's punk-ish, but it's got they got good players, so it's called Zen Vetro is the name of the band, and my wife's she plays bass with them, and they were fucking powerhouse rocking, and then the other two bands that played were like Radiohead. It was just a weird mix, you know what I'm saying? It was so there's a lot of stuff going on. but I've always stuck true to rock and roll, and rock and roll's coming back, and maybe that's just in my own mind, and I believe that. But
you gotta think
I feel like hell, we've with this particular outfit. I mean, I've been in multiple touring bands, but this particular outfit has been together about 5 years now, and we've been across the country, probably 3 times now with this band, and even just by kind of having a contact with my old band, Crank County Daredevils, I was able to string together 2 European tours for us. Just,
nice.
18, 20 dates out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw firsthand that people do want to listen. There are people that want to listen to rock and roll. And one of the biggest things I hear from fans or, people that just see us for the first time, and they say, oh, man, thank God. We thought that we were never going to hear an original rock band again. Yeah. And I started thinking to myself, I guess, the last 5 or 7 years, like I was talking about, it's either become music that not everybody's into, or I get the feeling that it's a ton of cover bands that are really kind of the people are burnt out on. You know what I mean? They go to a bar to listen, they get to play a cover charge or whatever, and they go in there and they hear the same shit they could hear on the jukebox if they want to. So, we go to these joints and we go in there and we have 3 albums worth of original tunes that we play. And it just seems like people are getting hungry for that again. I don't know, because there was a period in there where it seemed like everybody was doing cover gigs.
Yep.
And
it's like that up here, too. Yeah. It's like up here in the Cleveland area. We're going through the same thing. I think that's like that everywhere. The bands, right. The bands who are the creative ones, the ones who are writing the music, they're getting pushed aside while these other bands are out there, playing all the cover stuff because they're getting paid. They're getting paid good money. And while all us original artists out here aren't getting paid shit, we're actually selling tickets to play places.
I know, yeah. You got to sell an X amount of tickets, or blah blah blah. You don't get into the club, or if you don't, then you got to. I mean, fucking buy your own tickets. It's like, man, or we don't play the show. I've seen it a million times, and it does suck, man. And I have a few friends that do play in some cover bands, and I don't rag on them or nothing, but I try not to get into the conversation with them because I don't want to hear that they got paid $2,500 to fucking play Poison songs, man. I just don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck you, dude. It's weird, how I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I see it from the club owner's perspective is that, they want bigger crowds but they're not catering to, they're catering to, for lack of better terms, the yuppie type crowd that they don't really like rock and roll, but they do they do for a Saturday night when it's the cool thing to do. So they're going to hire a fucking cover band to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But there are plenty of people out there like you and me and the scene, the guys that are in probably both of our scenes that do create and write music. And we say, man, I look around and there is plenty of people that will come to these shows. I mean, they will. And I think if some of these bar owners and club owners will actually believe in that, and push it, there's no reason why there shouldn't be some, new bands emerging.
Oh, yeah.
Because, when's the last time that you heard, when's the last time you heard of a band that everybody was excited about hearing coming out? You know what I mean? It seems like we have to research to find good bands because nobody's putting anything behind it. You know what I mean?
It's
you find a new band that's like, oh, these guys kick ass. And you look at their numbers and nobody's even, nobody's watching them. Nobody's paying attention to them. And you say, why has nobody listened to these guys?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the fault of the band. The music sounds great. The production value of everybody's shit's good now. I mean, everybody's got the Pro Tools rig they use, and so there's quality music coming out with, and we have to go to the depths of the internet to find it.
Yeah.
And it's it sucks in a lot of ways. But then again, the internet has made it possible for you and me and all of our buddies to release music whether we got a label or not.
That's right.
Now the only other thing we can do is run, do the legwork now and try to show up in every Cleveland and Nashville and Austin, Texas, or wherever, and try to hit those spots as many times as you can without going too broke. And hopefully by the dozen time you've been around, you're starting to bring 300 or 400 people into a club.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of bands probably, split up or break up because, I mean, you want to believe in what you're doing, you love what you're doing, you're writing it, and it's your project, and it gets discouraging the 8th time you've been to a place and you know that you guys just had a slamming set and you guys kicked ass and fucking 9 people were there. You know what I mean? And it's you can either stay the course and do it and just try to come back a 10th time if you can, you know what I mean? Or give it up, you know what I'm saying? And that sucks, you know, because what we do is it's art, but it's also a lot of hard work, man. I mean, just because we're not swinging a hammer doesn't mean we ain't busting our ass.
I know that. What are some of the bands that you know that have recently come out that you want other people to check out?
As far as I tell you what, they're not. I don't even know how recent they are. I know they came out a couple of years ago, but I got into a band called Rival Sun. Have you heard of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, them guys kick ass. I really dig that. They kind of had that throwback.
They toured with Sabbath not too long ago, didn't they?
Yeah. That was right. Yep. I mean, they got that vintage kind of sound, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. We actually wound up having some kind of I don't know, semi connection with Blackberry Smoke, just some mutual friends. We had the same touring agency over in Europe with them, so it was they were cool. You know, it's not 100% my cup of tea. You know, I like a little bit more push. So I do like the Southern rock. You know, I dig the Southern rock kind of vibe.
I just saw them.
People are coming out with, you know, kind of, you know, putting the blues back into some of the rock music. But you know, I'm also a big metalhead too, man. Mm-hmm. So you know, there's but, I mean, I catch myself putting Megadeth and Pantera records in because I haven't seen you know, anybody that's kind of blown my socks off. You know what I mean? One of the things that I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing, but there was that trend a few years back where every singer was like during the verses of the song were like screaming and growling, and it was very non-melodic. And then every chorus seemed to open up and become a very melodic Iron Maiden type riff, and then they go back, and it was cool at first, like when Killswitch Engage did it and some of these other bands were doing it. I was like, man, that's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
And some of the European guys like Soilwork, and they were doing that, and I thought it was cool. And then all of a sudden, everybody did it. I mean, like every band was doing the same thing. And but I was just listening to an interview on the station a minute ago, and the guys that were talking were saying the same thing. You know, so they were saying, you know, when you find one, they find Guns N' Roses, and now they want to find Guns N' Roses Part 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
About a fourth Guns N' Roses, it's almost a joke by then. You know, it's like a parody of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some. A guy I've been really getting into as a guitar player lately. I've been really into John 5 a lot lately.
Oh yeah,
he's a monster.
Oh hell yeah, he is. Did you ever just
he's a fucking.
You just watch him. He's like I saw him was like not too long ago. He was just doing some stuff on YouTube, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about some Van Halen," you know, because it was the anniversary of the first one or whatever. He just started just ripping out, playing the whole damn record like it was nothing.
The whole record,
oh my god!
And fluent, yeah. He's a monster, man. He's really got his thing together for sure.
And
we have a cool crew up in Jersey. My old man, that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And there's a big thing happening right now. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. Like a reissue almost of what they call the Old Bridge Metal Militia, the Old Bridge Militia. Mm. And what this was basically is my dad's good friend, a guy named Metal Joe. back in 1981 or something like that. Long story short, was in a place called Old Bridge, New Jersey, and there was 4 long-haired dudes sharing a salad plate at Burger King because all they could afford was one.
Yeah.
And they were getting the salad bar, and they were sharing one plate. And he was like, "What do you guys do?" "Oh, we're in a band. We're out here touring from California, and we were supposed to meet up at a record label that never showed up."
Yeah.
And they stayed in his basement for, a long time. And Fade to Black was written on their couch. It was fucking Metallica.
Wow.
Right. So, and so my old man's a part of this scene. I mean, they called this Old Bridge Militia. It was not just bands, but it was fans of bands that showed up to every rock and metal show. They came to everyone. If
it was
the new
huge
band,
back then, yeah.
if you had never heard of the new band, Overkill or whatever, they were coming. They would all show up. Every one of them. There would be be dozens and dozens of these guys show up, and it started spreading. My dad's Bobby Ojo and Ray Dill. All these guys, and my dad's name's Mike Kelly. All these guys were watching Metallica, for lack of better terms, drinking beer, partying, while Metallica had a rehearsal in Metal Joe's basement. And that was kind of like what they would do on Saturday nights. Like Metallica would give them, a jam session because they were practicing. All of a sudden, the Kill 'Em All thing happens, but then Ride the Lightning is hitting with, and they move up. They signed with Megaforce Records.
Yeah.
Which Johnny Z is also a friend of theirs. And then all of a sudden, they're on tour with Metallica. I mean, with Ozzy, with Master of Puppets, and I mean, the rest is history. I mean, they just took off. And so there's, my Metal Joe just got an interview with Metallica. They just put out it's not a box set, but it's a lot of stories and reading and unreleased music and stuff. And he got a spread. They interviewed him for that, and he's still to this day, 30 years later, 35 years later, says, how the hell would we have known? How would we have known that was going to be the biggest metal band in history hanging out in our fucking basement, man? We didn't know. We would have never known it. And it just happened, and then that kind of stemmed from that scene. So this is where I came from. I mean, I was just a baby. I mean, I was just a kid. I didn't know anything about it. But my dad was in it.
Yeah.
So years go by. I mean, fucking years go by. And I'm 35 now. So we're doing shows 5 years ago. We got this new band out, and out of nowhere, my dad's old friends reach out. See that it seems like your son's hitting it, man, doing some things. So we started getting some gigs up in Jersey. We started playing these Old Bridge Militia festivals. And so, there's another little link up there that, and you know how slow this business is.
Oh, yeah.
We have one of our best friends is super tight. I mean, I'm talking like cell phone conversations with Lars. And they, they can't do anything for us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's not that they can't. They do everything they can by giving us gigs and trying to get us good opening slots. But even knowing the biggest metal band in the world, 3 or 4 people removed, but still having a contact with that doesn't even change things.
Yep.
30 years ago, I think if somebody thought they knew Metallica or a band that big, you felt like you had a chance at something. Yep. That something may come of this. And nowadays, I mean, we've all got to kind of, make our own thing. We all got to do our own thing. And, and I think the record labels that are out of the picture now, which thank God, that we don't have to give 90% of our work, which is, to some dude that sits in the office collecting 90% of everybody's work while we're out there eating fucking salami sandwiches from 10-day-old bread just to try to make it to the next show. You know what I'm saying? But it also makes it harder because we're musicians in a lot of ways, and that's some of us. That's all we are. And now we're having to learn a secondary job, like being a manager or being a booking agent or being this or that, being your own roadie. And so there's a lot more work. As far as, the behind the scenes goes for, as a band, I think back in the 80s, you signed a record deal, and all of a sudden you've got management, you've got this, you got this, you got this.
Yeah, money
you
for
got to
you,
still
too.
pay it back, but there's people doing it for you.
Yep.
But then I mean, how many 80s musicians can we name right now that are broke because of that, signing that, when they thought that first lump of $2 million was theirs and it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
So I think nowadays, maybe there's no money right at the moment, but I think if you believe in it enough, you believe in your product enough, and you keep pushing it and get that grassroots thing going, and people do jump on it, you got to think, I personally think to myself, if we reach 100,000 people across the world that will come to shows if we're in their area, and they will buy our albums when they come out, that's a solid band, right? That's a solid band if you're doing that completely independently.
Mm-hmm.
If you were on a label, 100,000 people would be dismal. They would think it's terrible. They'd be dropped in a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it's taken me some time because I grew up in a family of musicians and friends and kind of, brothers of the family that grew up in a time when it was, if you weren't signed, you weren't shit.
Oh, yeah.
And so, just subconsciously, I think that got stuck in my brain. And it took me till I was about 28 years old to realize, you know what? No, I don't even want to be signed now. I mean, all the horror stories I hear from, and it's like, man, I don't even want to be signed. I would rather find my own way. And I don't think anybody knows the correct formula right now. I mean, I've asked 10 different bands that have 10 different levels of success, and not one of them said the same. So I know that's kind of a long answer, but that's just kind of what I see like the music business is right now. And so I just try to keep my head down and do what I do, you know what I mean? And play music and write music. And if that means I got to load my own gear and book my own shows for the meantime, then I will, but we're going to still keep doing it regardless. You know what I mean?
I understand.
I don't think that I'm going to look for that big old contract to sign. You know what I mean? Those days don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand. I got a couple questions here that was just sent over to us. Are you ready to field some of these? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, of course.
The first question was, ask how he gets his Waffle House hash browns.
I get my Waffle House hash browns with chili and cheese.
Okay. Ask if he ever visited the train from the movie The Fugitive in Cullowhee, North Carolina. They filmed the scene where Harrison Ford escaped there.
You ain't going to believe this, but my wife, and she graduated from, and I went to Western Carolina. I lived in Cullowhee for 2 years, and the answer is absolutely yes.
Let's see. And I said, a salad bar and Burger King. I declare shenanigans.
I'm not that part of the story. I'm not exactly sure where that is, but it's something like that.
Here we go. Ask if you like COC, being there from North Carolina.
Man, Pepper Keenan, I've met him a couple times. He's one of the nicest guys. But I got my dad, again, who's my drummer. He turned me on to COC back before, right when Headbangers Ball was ending, like the very last of the original Headbangers Ball. He turned me on to Albatross. That video came on, and there used to be Columbia House tapes. You remember that? You remember that, where you could buy like 20 tapes for a penny or something?
You tape it on.
And that was for my 12th birthday. I got Deliverance from my dad for my 12th birthday. So absolutely, I love COC.
Let's see. He also asked, he goes, did you know that Paul Stanley likes COCK?
Oh man, that is one of the, whoever sent that question in or that comment in is absolutely that I'm stealing that joke. That's funny as hell.
Here's another one. He said, ask if he was at the Hurricane Sandy Metal Militia benefit in New Jersey in 2013.
In 2013, no, we didn't make it. We didn't make it that one. The following year, we came up, and now we did do donations from our merchandise sales that we made during. I can't remember what the month exactly was, but we did that. I donated a guitar to a broken guitar that I broke on stage. It was actually broke on stage during a show up in Jersey.
Mhm.
We gave it to Metal Joe, and I don't know if he's I think he's got a part of his merch thing, but I said, do something with this if you can fix it, and maybe give it to a kid to do some lessons on, whatever. But the following year is when we played the first Bulldozer Bash.
Okay.
But a lot of my family that are from the coast in South Amboy, New Jersey, a lot of my family and friends and stuff, were very affected by Hurricane Sandy. Seeing pictures of where I was born at, where my father grew up, with people's mailboxes. I mean, up to the bottom of the mailbox sand. You know what I mean?
crazy.
Like that. It was bad.
Mhm.
So yeah, that hit pretty close to home for sure for us.
For people who aren't familiar with your music, want to give them a little brief and tell them a little bit about yourself and the history of yourself?
Yeah, man. It's without too many frills. It's rock and roll.
Mhm.
It's got a little bit of Southern blues twist to it. My old man likes to describe it as if you could imagine a nice solid mix of Motorhead and Skinner, because we like to keep it up tempo, man. I really write from a drum standpoint, which is learning it from my dad. So I like tempos changes, and I like the songs to push a little bit. Sometimes I catch myself, if I'm writing from a guitar standpoint, my strum stays the same. So if you start thinking about it from the drums, so we really plan our music that way. But it's rock, man. It's rock and roll. If you dig rock, you should dig this, man. It's Marshall half stacks, SVT bass rigs, and 26-inch double bass, big
Nice.
John Bonham double kick.
Oh,
But
that'll do it.
with 2 kick drums. So there's no hidden agenda. We come out, and we play rock. You know what I mean?
What kind of guitars you slinging?
Always played Les Pauls.
Mhm.
And then about 6 months ago, a friend of mine let me mess around on his very hot wired Telecaster, and I immediately went and bought it. So I've been playing. It's probably like sacrilegious for some guys, but for our drop D tuning stuff, any kind of alternate tuning, I use the Telecaster.
Mhm.
And for anything that we do standard, regular tuning, I use Les Paul, and I use slide on. If I'm playing slide, I use the Les Paul.
Well,
That's it, just those two. I've tried a million other things, and I play guitar I play guitar hard. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I banged it, and for me, a guitar that's heavy and kind of pushes back like a Les Paul or something like that. That it suits my style better, because every time I pick up like an Ibanez or something like that, they're great guitars.
Mhm.
They really are, but
They're not a
I
Paul,
feel like I'm gonna snap the neck in half
Yep.
or something. I really,
Mhm.
I just feel like I play it too hard and knock it all out of tune and shit. So I'm a Les Paul guy.
What models do you
Les
have?
Paul through a Marshall.
What model?
was that?
What model Les Pauls do you play?
The one I got my main one that I've been playing right now is just it's a 91 Studio.
Mhm.
And I've got 2 Studio Les Pauls that I've been playing, and that's what I take out on the road with me. Now I got my old man's Washburn. It's another humbucker hot rodded Telecaster, and I use that in the studio. I'll use a Strat in the studio sometimes for clean sounds. But the 2 Les Pauls I take out on the road with me are Studios.
Nice. Yeah, I have 2015 was a Les Paul Les Plus. I play that.
Oh yeah.
And I have a Les Paul Classic. I think it's a 2017. It's brand new. Got a black one, but I just recently got rid of an 81 Custom.
Right.
I've had you get all these guitars. You end up, I want to get something different. I'm getting tired of this. You're looking for things and reasons why you should get rid of something, and I want to upgrade. It's time to upgrade and get rid of. Yeah, I got up to over 20 guitars. I'm like, I got to do something.
Right on. Damn right. And the biggest complaint that I get from I hear from a lot of people about a Les Paul, of course, is the heaviness of it.
Yeah.
But I'm so used to it now that it's no different than it's just what I'm used to play. And actually the weight of a Les Paul is what I like about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, it just feels coming right out of the Mars. I play a JCM 2000, and coming right out of the head to the 412.
Yeah.
To the guitar, it just something about that combo. It just feels like one piece. It feels connected. I don't know how to describe it.
Oh, I understand it.
Just feels right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I play through a DSL 100, so I know the vibe that you're getting out of it.
You know the vibe.
Yeah.
Damn right. DSL's nice shit. I mean, like I said, another thing my dad told me when I was a kid. You know, and I mean, nowadays there's a million different amps out there. Of course, you got your rectifiers and your like Black Stars starting to make a new name and stuff, but in the bulk of rock and roll music from when rock really started getting popular till nowadays, 80% you turn on, you see the band's video and there's that damn white cursive Marshall written back there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
There's a reason for it, and I know that people say, oh, they've kind of lost their touch. And maybe so, I don't know. But my amp I bought it brand new in 99 or in 98. So it's a 20-year-old amp. And maybe that has something to do with it. You know, maybe that's something that it still had the craftsmanship that the Marshall, that Marshall, got the reputation from.
Oh, yeah.
But that, man, to me, again, it's an SG with Angus, but I always say when you hear that first strum of an A on Highway to Hell,
that's it.
There's no doubt in your mind what that is.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? That's a Marshall amp. That's like a JCM 800 or something turned on 10 with a Gibson and as pure of a power chord A as you can make. And that's right. That's what I love. This has always caught my ear, It always has.
What are you using to try to find that ultimate tone for your guitars? Any type of effects?
I have a couple of pedals, but here lately, for the first time in a long time, I've actually added some delay to my solo section. I usually used to keep it pretty dry, but I just used an Ibanez Tube Screamer. I got a Crybaby Wah, and a friend of mine, Jimmy Keenan, who is just he's not only a great guitar player, but he fixes he makes all kinds of contraptions, and he modeled a stomp box after the Ibanez, the Tube Screamer, but he beefed it up just a little bit. So I got that I run it separate. It's just a black box with a tone, a volume, and a crunch knob on it, and that's it.
That's what.
It don't have a name or nothing on it, and that when it's time to go to a crescendo solo lick, or we're really bringing up to a high fever kind of pitch, then I kick that on, and it takes the crunch and the thickness up to another level.
Oh yeah.
And to add to that, one thing that I've started experimenting also with tone on stage is, again, my wife is my bass player, and she's a monster. Crystal Kelly is her name. She's a monster bass player. She's been playing in a bunch of good bands, but her first real band around Asheville area, a band called Zombie Queen, all female, all monster players. I mean, they were the band in Asheville for about 3 years. I mean, everybody went to see them. They were kicking ass. So after we lost our last guy, I asked her, I was like, look, I need you to play bass for me. You know what I mean? You've been out gigging and running the roads for the last 10 years. You've got the experience, you got the chops, and I need it. She's the same way that she plays Ibanez sound gear, but she plays it through a classic SVT Classic with an 810 cabinet.
Yeah.
So we were running that. So I had this old Fender Fender 412 cabinet. So I'm just running the line out off of the second, like, instead of running a full stack, I'm running a half stack on my side, and then I'm taking a long speaker cable, and I put it beside her SVT on her side of the stage, and then we're taking the smaller baby SVT with the 410s in it, and I put that on my side. So, you know, it's so just in case, and you know what I mean when I say this, just in case a sound man doesn't understand that we need monitors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always got bass guitar on my side, and she's always got my guitar on her side. So no matter where you're standing, if the PA isn't pumping like you want it to, if somebody's standing, you know, front row bass guitar side, you're still going to get my amp because I still got a 412 running on that side. So, you know, I don't know how many people do that. It's probably common. I'm not sure, but I just it just kind of hit me one day. I was like, you know what? If we do it that way, then no matter what, that front of house, front of stage is always going to sound full.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you know, it kind of gives it a little bit more of a stereo effect. You know, everybody, if you're stage left, you'll still hear what's coming off stage right. It won't be too bass heavy or vice versa. You know, just guitar screaming in your ears. So that's been kind of cool. That's a new experiment we've been messing with on stage. It's a little more gear loading, but you know what? So what? You know, I would rather, you know, set up a couple extra amps and not sacrifice what's coming off the stage. You know,
how frustrating do you get that when you're getting ready to play and you do the sound check and everything, and then right when you go live, boom, you ain't got shit coming out of those front monitors, and you can't even hear yourself.
Where did everything go?
Yeah,
yes. Where the hell did everything go when we did our sound check 10 minutes ago? Or you know, or if there was another band that was on stage and or whatever. Yes. And then you go on, and when you were doing sound check, it was like everything sounded right. Yeah. You could hear your vocals cut through, you could hear everything. And then you go on stage, and there's nothing. And then when you tell the guy to come up,
he turns somebody else up.
It seems like he's turning something else up, but all of a sudden you get a bass drum, like ooh. I'm like, never mind. You know what? I'll just blow my fucking voice out again. Thanks. You know?
I'd say
oh man, it is frustrating.
Yeah, I think the last 10 shows I did, that's exactly what happened. And I never was able to hear myself play. It's like it's a good thing I know what I'm doing and I know what these sounds are where I'm playing. Other than that, sounds like you're winging it.
That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, you're playing by muscle memory now. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be nice if you know, if you're on, you know, you're playing, you got 2 guitar players in your band?
Yeah.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be nice to, if you're playing a solo, to be able to hear your rhythm guy and vice versa? I mean, it sucks to have to guess, man. Yeah. It really does. And all of a sudden, you know, it starts taking a little bit of the fun out of it because you're a little bit on edge now because you're wondering, oh, man, are we really hitting the way we're supposed to? Oh, man, Dominic, you nailed that on the head, brother. That's one of the most frustrating things. And you said it, and for anybody that's listening, that's a musician, you know that this isn't just once in a while. This is a common occurrence. It's almost like there's a ghost in the machine. I don't know what it is, but it seems like it happens so much. Yeah.
I'd say like I'd say definitely the last 10 shows I played, every one of them was like that. And then it'd be like
everyone.
And then the drummer would be like, he has this great big ass monitor right next to his head, and he doesn't hear shit.
Can't hear nothing. I know, can't hear anything. It's like, hey, listen, we're not a couple of guitars coming through those big 15-inch speakers ain't gonna hurt nothing. Yeah. Please turn it up. You know what I mean? What are you worried about happening? It's I know, man. It's definitely something that again, you know, people that don't know. And for listeners that don't know, what you're hearing out front, whether it's great or bad or mediocre, whatever it is, whatever you're hearing out front, I guarantee you it's never been the same band on stage, ever. That's right. Not once.
Yeah, we don't hear that.
And every time you come up stage and somebody's like, man, you guys fucking killed it tonight. My head, I'm thinking, God almighty, I thought we sucked. Yeah. And the vice versa, come off the stage and be like, man, we fucking jammed tonight. And everybody's kind of like, yeah, man, you guys are pretty good.
I couldn't hear you.
Like, well,
I heard everybody else but you playing.
Yeah, man, that's for sure.
Well, we're going to be winding this down here in a second here, but how can people get a hold of your music and your websites and your merch and everything you have going on?
Okay, cool. Well, right now our website is the official website is just about to be finished back up. We had an official website when we were on an indie label, and it took us a little while. And I'm not even going to give him a plug. So we took it took us a little while to get my name back, as far as because once the time ran out on it, it got bought.
Oh, I hate
from
that
underneath
shit.
And then I got it tried to be sold back to me for much more than it was worth. So we went through a little bit of that. So the RoryKelly.com, we wound up just saying screw it.
Yeah.
We stopped fighting it, and RoryKellyMusic.com is. I mean, it's any day now. It could be within the next, I would say, 3 weeks that the new official website, RoryKellyMusic.com, will be launched and up. It'll have all of our merch on it. It'll have a way to get, to our iTunes and stuff like that. We've got a catapult distribution, so every major media outlet that everybody can get on. If you like Amazon, or if you like Google Play, if you like whatever, Spotify. We got our Pandora. We have our Pandora station, which they already put that up for us. So, you can still check that one out at the moment. But all that information will be on Rory Kelly Music within the next couple weeks. But if you can remember what I'm saying now, you can, of course, you got YouTube channels. You can check all that out. You can go to Pandora and just type in Rory Kelly, and we got our own station on that. And some of our older material is still on iTunes at the moment. But the new stuff, again, once we finally, after a couple of long arguments, we'll leave it at that. We finally got the rights to our music back, and so we repackaged all the records. We had to get rid of the artwork because it wasn't ours anymore.
Yeah.
Basically, I got my songs back, and the label got their end of the bargain back, and that was the end of it. So it's all repackaged, but there's 3 full studio releases on all of those media outlets that you can check out. And I guess that's about it as far as I can remember. And luckily, I have a weird enough name that if you just type in Rory Kelly band or music, or it'll be the first one that pops up. There's not another one of me right now, so that's kind of beneficial.
What's on the RoryKelly.com site?
What's that?
What are they selling on your RoryKelly.com site?
Well, actually, it's not being sold. What they did was they just bought it and they're holding on to the domain name, not using anything.
Oh, mine.
And it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's laying dormant. And they, from where I could have got it, originally from GoDaddy or whatever, and done it myself. The label had told me, no, we'll handle that. We take care of that. They did it. Our relationship lasted about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And here's why. This was the final nail in the coffin when it ended, and I'll stop talking your ear off. But we were in the middle of. We did 6 months straight. It was the longest tour I've ever done in my life. We did 6 weeks in Europe, 6 weeks in the U.S., and we're talking maybe 2 weeks in between. 6 weeks Europe, 6 weeks U.S. 1 more month in the U.S. and then back to Europe for like another 18 dates. And on our last leg of our U.S. tour, we were in Fresno, California. We were playing with another good friend of mine, J.B. Beverly. He sang with the Murder Junkies. He came in after G.G. Allen died. He did a couple of Wayward Drifters. He played with Hank 3. He's got a pretty good resume, and we were his backing band. But in trade-off to be his backing band, to play his tunes, the trade-off was we get an opening slot every night, and it was a good trade-off. And so we both were on the same record label. We were pulling for each other, helping each other out. And we got out to Fresno, California, and which was my van at the time, had a real major issue with the an main oil seal went, and we were literally the furthest point across the country you get from getting back home, and we still had 25 shows left, and it was like a $2,500 fix. And so we did a Facebook blast. Any of our friends that can help out, we'll get you guys some T-shirts, whatever. We'll make it up to you. If we can get all of our Facebook friends to send $10 a piece, we can make this happen and not lose our asses.
Yeah.
And so many people came through, and this is no shit when I tell you this. So many people came through. People came above and beyond, sent $100, $500, even a couple people sent. I mean, they really, really came through. But by people sending it, it was not anonymous. We were able to see who sent what. And the record label sent $5 fucking, and I felt like that was a kick in the balls. $5, and I want everybody to know that, and they know who we used to be on. $5.
Wow.
I said, a real record label would have just went ahead and footed the bill, and when we got back from the tour, we could have just gave him the money back.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he sent $5.
Damn.
So that was the end of it. We all decided that was it, and from that day on, I did everything I could to get out of the contract, and I was just so poignant about it, and that it just finally he just relented, and it was the end of it, and we came to an agreement that we both could deal with. And like I said, I got my tunes back, and he got his artwork back, and all the other frills that came up with him. Certain videos that were released on his site got taken down, blah blah blah. But I didn't care because that was an insult, man. You know what I mean? I'm talking. You want to talk about being disheartened when you're, trying to survive, and you see the guy that is supposed to be behind you, the guy that you're actually out on the road trying to make money for.
That's right.
Send you a $5 bill.
Were they a reputable label where they had money?
Well, yes, because originally, he came from Gearhead Records, which was a good label out of San Francisco that had the band The Hives on it. They had some pretty good. I mean, they were very much a part of that. What do you call it? Like rockabilly scene with cars and the classic cars and stuff. And they had a Gearhead Records itself, not so much all the artists, but the label itself and the merch that they came out with was quite the trendy thing back in the early 2000s. And so they did well. So the guy that he was an A&R for them picked up my old band, Crank County Daredevils, and he, within 2 weeks of us signing with Gearhead, he left the label.
Wow.
The guy that signed us left the label, and we're like, well, we don't even know anybody else. What are we doing? So he got us out of that contract and started up his own record label right then there on the spot, using the knowledge he had, the money he had from the split, and he had all these great ideas, and it seemed to be going well. Then he picked up my solo act, and it seemed to be doing really well for a while, and then all of a sudden it started to change, and I don't know the ins and outs and why it started to change, because he had a lot of good bands. Hellbound Glory was on there. I mean, they must have played with every big act and multiple dates. I mean, they did tours with Kid Rock. They did tours with ZZ Top. I mean, these Crank County Daredevils, my other band. I mean, we opened up for Cheap Trick last year in front of 18,000 people. I mean, he had bands on this label that were good, that could have been really pushed. And all of us were kind of on high. All the bands, we all got along well. We all toured together. And then one day, out of nowhere, I don't know how or I don't know why, but it all stopped. And every one of the bands I just named were either dropped or quit or got put on hold. And it just became this, I don't know. I didn't get into any of the drama of it. All I know is that one day, things were not getting done anymore. And it all started when I told him, I said, we've got 30 shows in Europe, man. I mean, so we've got 30 European gigs, and I can't get you because the booking agent in Europe for weeks I'm talking weeks, was begging me to get her the merchandise, the flyers, the things that I don't have control over. These are the things that the label was supposed to be taking care of.
Yeah.
And she could not get a hold of him for months. And finally, the day before, we were in Charlotte Airport, and as we were getting on the plane, my friend that we waited to the last minute, and he said, "Hey man, your merchandise just arrived at my house."
Wow.
I said, "Well, dude, I'm in the air." I mean, like shit like that. So then we get to Europe and we have to buy another 250 T-shirts out of our own pocket because he didn't send it to us in time. And he had months. It took 8 months to book the tour. I mean, it wasn't like, he had 2 days to figure this out. He had 8 months to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got charged extra because the art designer, art director for the promotion company out of Europe got tired of waiting too and designed and printed flyers for the whole, about 6 countries. So they had a lot of money invested in that. And at the end of the tour, when it's all said and done, the money that was made by us and the money that was put out by both labels and blah, 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 I go down looking at these things, at these numbers, and realize, because I had no management, it was just me doing it myself.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these numbers and realize that because of the Bonehead not getting the merch to us and not getting the artwork done to us, we wind up losing about $4,400 worth.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Worth of potential sales, but it was an actual bill for I think it was something like $3,200, €3,200, which was like four grand. It was an actual bill that I got billed because of the T-shirts. They had to be printed, and they had to be printed overnight, basically, because we were on the plane and we had to pick them up in Belgium. I mean, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And that's when it started going downhill for me. And I let him know I didn't like it, and he didn't know that, and he didn't like that I spoke up. And that was the beginning of the end. It didn't last much longer after that.
It sounds like it. Man, that
yeah.
really
So
sucks.
and I ain't talking shit. That's why I ain't gonna say nobody's name. I ain't talking shit. These are just facts.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's just the way it happens. So for the last 3 years, we have been completely independent. 2 years. For the last 2 years, we've been completely independent. So if it's got a Rory Kelly logo on it or a Rory Kelly music on it, it was done by us from our little backyard studio that we got. And a friend of mine from out in St. Louis, she does the printing for our T-shirts. And that's it. We keep it in-house after that. I'm almost afraid to ask anybody else to help.
I hear you.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's kind of our story, man. And I really appreciate you,
problem.
taking interest in it and listening. I want to thank your cousin Mary for setting us up. That's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I love getting turned on to new music and just talking music with people because hey, man, it's we're one big family when it comes down to the guitar and the bands.
Yeah.
We all have that connection.
We are one big family.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'll say this to you just like I say this to anybody else. When you guys, if your band ever comes to North Carolina, any band that I know that's touring through, they've always got a place to stay. We got an extra bed and a living room, and my house is a rock and roll house. We got a lot of guys that come stay and sleep on our couches and sleep on our extra bed, and it's an open invite to all of our music friends. That's for sure. You know that.
Let's see. I got one more question.
Right.
This one's coming from Jeff. He said, "Ask if he would object if the RoryKelly.com became a midget porn site."
If it didn't, I'd be upset now. So if somebody would please buy that RoryKelly.com and make a midget porn site, I will. I'll be the first guy to put it up as our sponsor. I mean, if it's not rock and roll, it's fucking midget porn. It's one or the other, right?
That's right. Can you do us a quick favor?
But, yeah.
Can you do a promo ID for a radio show? Just say your name, the band you're with, you're listening to Maximum Threshold, and throw something crazy out at the end of it and don't put no thought into it.
Okay. You tell me when.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. This is Rory Kelly from the Rory Kelly Band. You're listening to Maximum Threshold, and get fucking loud.
Nice. Hey, Rory, man, hey, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out, and especially like a last minute just to pop on here and talk about your music and everything about you, man. So you got me.
Well, I appreciate you. Man, thank you so much, Brian. And let's stay in touch, and then let's just try to bring some rock and roll back to the world. I think it could use it.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks, brother.
Take care, man.
See you, bye.
Texas, but he won't back it up. Talking about that's just foolish thinking. You best take one look around. I got friends in the lowest places who can't sink much further down. Do what you wanna, but no one rides for free. Say what you gonna, do what you wanna do to me. Just don't shake my family tree. From the hills of Carolina across the mountains black, you ain't got to look too hard to find out where we at. Talking about try to back me in a corner, now I got you on the run. It's time for you to man up, trade that suitcase for a gun. Do what you wanna, but no one rides for free. Say what you gonna, do what you wanna do to me. Just don't shake my family tree. I don't want you to beg. I get my satisfaction when your tail's between your legs. Talking about now the story's over, and if there's one lesson learned, you come sniffing around my family tree, your life will soon get burned. Do what you wanna, but no one rides for free. Say what you wanna, what you came to do to me. Just don't shake my family tree. Don't shake my family tree. Don't shake my family tree. Oh, don't shake my family tree.
This is Michael Chloroform Rag, and you're listening to Maximum Threshold.
Impetuous boy! Oh, well, who wants to live forever?
Hey, boss, we can do our stuff that's off the back of that truck.
Well, Buckley, it sounds like it's time to give away some stuff. It's contest time.
Okay, boss, that's what you think.
Have a smartphone, iPod, iPad, or even Roku? Grab the app, tune in, and search Maximum Threshold and hear the show live directly from your device.
Phone lines are open. Call us now, 440-709-4977. Once again, the call-in line in the studio here is 440-709-4977. But be prepared. You call, you will be on the air.
This is the Hellion, and you are listening to Maximum Threshold on the net, where Dom just sacrificed a live goat in the name of metal!
Hey, this is Jason McMaster, and you're listening to Maximum Threshold.
This is WWE superstar Bray Wyatt, and you are listening to Maximum Threshold. Follow the buzzers.
And now on Maximum Threshold, I will play all your requests. Right now. Here you go. Every song you wanted me to play, I'm playing it right now. All your favorite songs.
Hey, it's Rick from Junkyard. You're listening to Maximum Threshold.
See, we play your request here on Maximum Threshold.
Our request on MaximumThreshold.net.
By request for groove, some overkill. Thanks, Rory.
Ready to fly, ready to die.
There's that pigweed by request. Going out to Jeff Kiss. Pigweed time is now. Maximum Threshold. Horns up. Fist fire, baby. And that was, of course, by request. I went out to Jeff Kiss because, you know, he wanted to hear that. So, yep. So, let me do this. I got some more cool stuff coming up. I got to play the song. The song's stuck in my head.
What up, y'all? Pepper Keenan from Down. You're listening to Maximum Threshold. Dig it.
There you go, man. It's some classic for you. Classic CLC for you. Yep. Clean my wounds. There you go. Just rolling right along here, man. Hope you guys are having fun along with us. Yep. Let's see. I got a couple more songs here I got to knock out. Then we're getting out of here, man. We're going to throw these other interviews on next week, but I had a blast so far. Let's see. Okay, I got some Dead Daisies coming up. I also have, let's see, some Broken Testimony. And I think I might be able to try to sneak into Snoo. I don't know. We're running out of time here. But here going to be back in a little bit. Horns up, fist in the air. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Hey guys, this is John Karabi from The Scream, Motley Crue, Union, ABBA, Justin Bieber, whatever. And you're listening to Maximum Threshold, baby. Turn it up. Come on!
Live the way I choose. Let the devil be my witness to everything I've done. 'Cause it ain't nobody's business, and I'm not the only one. Let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. Come on, yeah, yeah. So fire it up and turn me on until I'm dead and gone. When I was just a boy, let no man take from you things that bring you joy. From nothing on, I have my own, and there's no looking back. God helps those who help themselves, brother, that's a fact. Let the devil be my witness to everything I've done. 'Cause it ain't nobody's business, and I'm not the only one. Let me hear you say, yeah.
Strong, you motherfucker! Ow! A Maximum Threshold, baby. Woo! It's Michael Starr from Steel Panther.
Hi, this is John from Volbeat, and you're listening to Maximum Threshold.
Hi, this is Nita Strauss from the Alice Cooper Band, and we start wars, and you're listening to Maximum Threshold Radio. Shred on.
Thanks, Nita. Thanks, John. And thanks, John Karabi, as well. Hey, I had to pull this one out. This one here is John 5 promo ID. This is classic. I want to thank Rory for making me think of him.
Hey, this is John 5, and you're listening to Maximum Threshold.
Yeah, we had them all on. There's so many that I didn't even cut out of interviews yet. I still got to piece them in there and put them on the board. I think I got like close to 500 of them promo IDs. There's just so many of them. I can only have so many on the board. So I got this band that hit me up not too long ago. And I want to play them again. They were pretty cool. It was Broken Testimony. And these guys actually, when they heard that they were played on here, they went all out there and was pushing it out there on the social media sites and Twitter and Facebook and all that. And I appreciate it. And anything like we could do to help, you know, especially if a band's going to push their music, you know, we're there for you. So here you go, man. This here is Broken Testimony with Medusa here on Maximum Threshold Radio. They got some Ghosts coming up in a little bit here. Goes out the groove. Broken Testimony. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and tell me you heard them here on Maximum Threshold Radio. Horns up, baby.
By the way, the coolest thing that's ever happened to me, I'd have to say, is got to be the threesome I had in 2004 with Ron Jeremy. Yeah, and a girl. It wasn't Ron and a guy and Lucky Jim. And I'll tell you exactly how it happened. After the Porn Awards in 2004, none of the girls would fuck me. So I was manically depressed. And I walk up to my buddy Dennis's room. Dennis owns the Bunny Ranch in Reno, which is a legal brothel, which I've never been to. Like, he's invited me to go, and I don't want to go. Like, I like the illegal aspect of prostitution. I don't want it to be all fun with a lot of laughs and a ranch with flowers. I want to be behind a warehouse in Brooklyn for $35. With a beautiful black girl with arms like Kobe Bryant and a skew blonde wig. Welcome back to Europe, Daddy. All right. But I walked up in Dennis's room. It was the most surreal thing I'd ever seen. There is Ron Jeremy fucking a girl on the bed. I walk in, and she's on her hands and knees, and Ronnie's behind her, and he's like, hey, man, how you doing? And I'm like, all right. And I can't see much because he has on a long hockey jersey. But then he pulls out, and there it is. And Jesus, did I stare. I think I even went, ooh. I was cockstruck. I really wanted a picture with it. And then he looks at me and he goes, hey man, I think she needs a cock in her mouth, which is my cue. So I looked at her to see if she does need a cock in her mouth, because you have to confirm that, otherwise you're going to feel like a silly goose. What are you doing? You look like you needed it. Don't you wish life were that simple? Why'd you jam your cock in her mouth? She looked like she needed it. Case dismissed. But she was cool. She's like, yeah, baby, I'd love it. Now, normally I wouldn't do this in front of people. I get too nervous. For me to keep a hard on, everything has to be perfect. You know, dim the lights, flick my nipples, no talking. Well, fuck it, man. This is Ron Jeremy. This is like the Pope giving mass saying, hey, you, come up and help. It's not exactly like that. But I decided to do it, so I take it out, I kneel on the bed. Ron looks at me and he goes, hey, man, you got a nice piece. And I'm such a retard. I went, really? And of course he ignored me because, you know, he's trying to be polite and I want to turn it into a 5-hour miniseries. And he didn't mean it. He just wanted me to be comfortable because he's Ron Jeremy and I'm kneeling there like an Asian in a cold tub. But she grabbed it, popped it in her mouth. He starts fucking her. I'm having a real and legitimate threesome with a porn legend, and I'm thinking, this is amazing. Without warning, he grabs her hips and goes, pow! She jumps forward, and my life flashes before my eyes. And he sees my face, and he laughs. And he goes, I did that on purpose. I just wanted to show you the biggest no-no in porn. Whenever you're having a 2-on-1, you never thrust that hard or you could seriously injure the other guy. Thank you. And then I'm like, man, that's how you know you got a big cock. When you can injure another person through a third party. If I want to hurt you with my dick, I have to pour lemon juice on the helmet and jam it in the corner of your eye.
Okay, people, we're getting out of here on that note. That was pretty good. So I'll see you guys next week. Fun show for you. I want to thank Dave Roach, Michael, and Rory Kelly for being on the show this week. I had a blast, man. I had a lot of fun. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in. Please subscribe on iTunes, Google Music, wherever the hell you find us at. Subscribe and please give us some stars and stuff like that. And leave us some comments. Leave us some comments. We'll read it on air, and we'll give you some stuff if you leave us some comments on blah 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 on them. Okay, I'll see you guys. Have a good one. We're out of here. Bye. Love y'all.
You just listened to Maximum Threshold Radio Show. Airs live every Saturday night, 8 p.m. until whenever the fuck they shut up. So tune in.
It is pointless to resist.